of 7th grade class showed that 4 out of every 10 students are taking a trip during spring break. There are 150 students in the 7th grade. Caitlin is trying to determine how many of the 7th grade students can be expected to take a trip during spring break. We need to find her mistake and we need to correct it. So we have 4 out of every 10 students are taking a trip, and we have 150 students in the 7th grade. Does anybody, this is Caitlin over here, does anybody see a mistake that Caitlin made? She found that there would be 375 students taking a trip. Ashley, what do you think?
I think because, in that little bubble thing, she has 4 over 10 equals, then there's a line, and then there's 150 on the top, and that needs to be on the bottom.
Because that 150 is what?
That's the total?
That's my total number of students in 7th grade, right? There can't be 375 students going on a trip if there's only 150 students, right? That doesn't really make sense. So your total always goes on the bottom, okay? So her mistake was she set it up incorrectly. It should be what? 4/10 equals what?
4/10 equals.
Do we know how many are going over?
X over 150.
X over our total. So that's what it should be.
And then you can reduce to.
Do you ever reduce the number of students?
No.
You reduce probability, but you don't reduce the number of
I
students.
thought you could reduce to 4 at a time.
It's not asking for the probability. So could I solve to figure out how many students though?
Yes.
Megan? And how'd you do that? You did 150 times 4 and then divided by 10? Yeah. And you got X equals 60 students. Okay, number 9. We have this bag of tiles. And it says 1 letter tile is drawn from the bag and replaced 300 times. We need to predict how many times a constant will not be picked. First of all, how could we reword that a constant will not be picked? What's another way we could say that?
Vowels. Vowels will be picked.
Vowels will be picked, right? Because if it's not a constant, it's a...
Vowel.
Okay, so let's just reword this so it's easier to think about. If you're not picking the constants, we're figuring out, so how many times will a constant be picked, or a vowel be picked, I'm sorry. So in my bag, how many do I have that are vowels? 3, what are they? A, E, and I. So we have 3 out of how many? There's 300 tiles there?
No. 9.
Oh,
9.
There's 9 tiles there, right? Okay, I could reduce this. I don't need to, but you can if you want to. What would I reduce it to?
1/3.
1/3.
What? Oh, yeah.
Okay. And if I had 300, how many would I predict to be a vowel? What would I do?
You would do the butterfly thing, right?
I could do the butterfly thing. So what one goes on bottom?
The 9.
300 goes on bottom, right?
That's what
My total number of times I'm picking. Or you could think of it, what do I have to multiply 3 by to get 300?
100.
So what do I have to multiply the top by?
1.
No.
Or 100. So what is
So then 1 times 100 is?
130? 100.
So I would predict that out of the 300 times that I draw from the bag, 100 of them
Would be vowels?
would be vowels. Right?
Yeah.
So we're just making predictions. Based on what happened before, this is what should happen in the future.
So this is compounding vowels?
This is just making predictions. A survey found that 80% of teens enjoy going to the movies in their free time. Out of 5,200 teens, predict how many would say that they do not enjoy going to the movies.
Would be
You could do this two ways. You could do it setting up proportions, or we could use the part equals percent times whole. Which one would you like me to use? Okay, Jordan, take that off, please. So we have 80% of teens enjoying going to movies. What's our percent?
80%.
Oh, what? Wouldn't it be
20.
20?
Where'd you get 20, Blaine?
Because they're saying what teens do not like them.
So what'd you do?
Oh, so I did 100.
Because the 80% is how many do like the movies. We want to know how many don't like them. So if 80% do, that means 20% don't. So my percent is 20%. What else do I know? And that is my what?
Your whole.
My whole, because that's my total number of students. What do I need to do with my percent before I type it in my calculator? Make sure it's a decimal, so I move it how many times? 1, 2. So 2 tenths times 5,200. Miss Addie, will you tell me what I get? 1,040. And what would you like me to label it? Team.
That's a lot.
Small compared to the total, right?
Yeah. There's also a small number.
Survey that many people? That's why you pick a sample to make it easier, right? Okay, go back a page, actually. On number 6, I'm going to help you, or not number 6, number 7, I'm going to help you out on this because we haven't used a bar graph. We used a pie graph, though. It says the school librarian recorded types of books students checked out on a typical day. Suppose there are 605 students enrolled at the school. Predict the number of students that prefer humor books. Then compare this number to the number of students who could prefer nonfiction. So we got a lot of steps here. First of all, we have 605 students that are enrolled at the school, and we need to predict the number of students that prefer humor. So how are we going to figure out that? Hold on. Brock, thank you for raising your hand.
You have to add all the types of books that get checked out.
So we want to figure out how many books were checked out on this day, right? The total.
Yeah.
So what's my total?
13 plus 2 plus 1, 2,
55? Somebody check it.
That's right.
We're good? Okay, so there's 55 total books that were checked out. Caden with a K. How many of them were humor? 13 out of my 55. How many students are at the school?
600.
Where does that go? Numerator or denominator? Denominator. Butterfly method or the multiplying method? Butterfly? Okay. So we're going to take 13 times 605, and then
13 times 6.
and then do what? Divide by.
55.
Okay. Somebody do that and raise your hand. Miss Bella, what'd you get? 143. So there's 143 students who preferred humor, right?
I got 7,865.
Would that make sense? That there's only 605 students and 7,000 of them?
Divided by 55. I did divide.
There you go. That's your mistake. Okay, so we're not done though, because then it says compare this number to the number of students at school who prefer nonfiction. So we have to figure out how many would prefer nonfiction. How many said that they preferred or checked out nonfiction that day? Out of?
55.
And that's equal to? Where? Denominator, thank you. So then I'm gonna multiply and divide. Jacob? 88. So 88 students preferred nonfiction. I'm still not done though because I have to compare them. So how could you compare them? Clayton? Okay, so we could do 143 minus 88 to figure out how many preferred one over the other, right? 13 minus 8 is
55.
13 minus
5.
8 is so 55. So if we were writing a sentence, we would say 55 students preferred humor, right? Over nonfiction. Now this is a prediction, so it's not like this is for sure what happened, but this is what we could anticipate based on the information we were given.